So let's say we find the building. Great. Now comes the question that actually determines whether any of this happens. How much money do we need? And I don't mean how much money would be fun to raise. I mean, what does it actually cost to prove DenVenue? Let's assume we get the keys. What do we actually have? Probably an empty warehouse. And an empty warehouse isn't DenVenue. First, there's the facility itself, then build out, then production, technology, furniture, the vault, staffing, insurance, software, marketing, launch. And then something founders can very conveniently forget, money to actually operate the thing. But here's where DenVenue is a little different. I'm not starting from scratch. I've spent my career in production. We already understand a lot of the systems, we have equipment, we have production experience, we have workflows, and the DenVenue app is already built and live. So before I buy anything, the first question should be, what can we leverage? Then there's build out. And this is where a cheap warehouse can become a very expensive warehouse. Electrical, HVAC, walls, sound control, fire requirements, internet, accessibility, bathrooms, permits. Suddenly that great lease rate doesn't look quite as exciting. And then there's the dangerous part for somebody like me, production equipment, because I can absolutely convince myself that we need something when what I really mean is I really want it. Pilot 2.0 doesn't need to prove that I know how to spend money on production. Trust me, I've already proven that. It needs to prove the business. So every major expense gets one question. Does this help us validate the model? If the answer is no, it probably doesn't belong in Pilot 2.0. But here's something I've learned from building businesses. The number that scares me isn't necessarily what it costs to open. It's what happens after we open. Opening DenVenue isn't success. Staying open long enough to properly test it, that's the challenge. And I don't want investor capital paying for everything forever. The goal is to start generating revenue as early in the validation process as possible. Investor capital gets the engine started. The business needs to increasingly help keep the engine running. That's also why I'm thinking about the raise in Milestones. Instead of give us a giant pile of money and we'll figure it out, I want cap build tied to proof. Raise, build, prove, generate revenue, learn, then earn the next round, earn the next step. I'm not trying to raise the most money possible. I'm trying to determine the least amount of capital that gives DenVenue a legitimate chance to prove the thesis. Because every dollar we raise gives up something, ownership. So every dollar needs a job. So what's the number? That's what I'm working through right now. Facility build out, equipment we already have, equipment we actually need, staffing, operating expenses, revenue, enough runway to give Pilot 2.0 a fair shot. Because once I ask an investor for their money, I need to be able to explain exactly what their money is going to accomplish.